Hi, I'm Jaqueline P'ng and this is Evening Highlights. The central bank may have sounded the alarm, but the Attorney General says 1MDB officials have done no wrong. Bank Negara was probing the fund's officials under the Exchange Control Act 1953 for making false disclosure. It then submitted its findings to the AG's chamber, along with recommendations for appropriate enforcement actions. When this was rejected last month, the central bank requested for a further review. But this too was binned due to the lack of new evidence. The FBM KLCI managed to breach the 1,700 mark today as the ringgit continued to strengthen and crude oil prices inched up. The benchmark composite rose to an intraday high of 1,701.2, but it didn't manage to hold on to the gains. At the close, the KLCI was up some 3 points or 2% to 1,692 points. It was supported by blue chips like UMW Holdings and Axiata Group. Interestingly, shares of companies linked to Tan Sri Dr. Teh Hong Piao were among today's top gainers. Second largest gainer, LPI Capital, was up 2% to close at 14 ringgit 44 cent. The company reported better third-quarter financials today. Public Bank was the 8th largest riser. It rose 0.7% to 18 ringgit 38. On the broader market, Arika Capital CEO Danny Wong told the Edge Markets that investors were taking a break as they waited for new catalysts. Wong says the new catalyst for the local market is crude oil prices. He thinks that the producers will suggest a solution to cut production to keep crude oil prices at $60 per barrel. Amid the chorus of opposition to the controversial TPPA, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Dato Sri Abdul Wahid Omar, says Malaysia will only agree to the trade accord if the terms benefit the country.
Malaysia will only enter into TPP if it's mutually beneficial for Malaysia and on terms that we can agree to. I think as what was mentioned by PM and Dato Sri Mustafa is that there are a number of concessions that the various TPP countries have agreed to in terms of our Bumi Putra policy, the issue on government procurement and the issue on state-owned enterprises. Allow the tax to be finalized over the next 30 days or so. After that, it will be made public, and as Dato Sri Mustafa mentioned yesterday, there will be that tabling to the Parliament for approval.
The TPPA is the largest trade agreement in history. Talks were recently concluded after 10 years. The negotiations were led by the United States and involves 11 other countries, including Malaysia, Australia, Japan, and Vietnam. The deal covers 40% of global economy and would serve a market size of 793 million people. Critics says the agreement is biased towards cooperation and that it might endanger healthcare around the world. But others say this is just hype. MIDF Research, for one, believes Malaysia will benefit from the lower tariffs on commodities and commodity-derived products such as palm oil and rubber. This is because the country's main competitors for such exports, Indonesia and Thailand, are not involved in the deal. Veteran politician Tan Sri Rafidah Aziz also reiterated her support for the TPPA. She says if Malaysia doesn't get in on the deal, the country will end up like a frog under a coconut shell.
We're a tiny little country. When you have access to a bigger market, provided you meet certain demands of others and others meet your demands, wow, it's what we need. Let's not be frogs under the coconut shell, right? But having said that, it is important that we look at it objectively. Do not politicize it. Do not add in extraneous matter to the negotiations or add in any sentiments that are not really to do with markets and with business.
The final TPPA draft is expected to be concluded by mid-2016. Mercedes-Benz Malaysia says sales hit a record high in the third quarter of 2015. The German automaker defied slowing vehicle sales in Malaysia, where consumer spending is taking a hit. From July to September this year, Mercedes-Benz sold over 3,000 vehicles, up 109% from the third quarter of 2014. This marks the third consecutive quarter of four-digit sales figure at the group. Demand for the C, E and S class helped boost sales. Year to date, it has sold nearly 8,200 cars, a 70% jump from the last corresponding period. Mercedes-Benz is the 14th in the country in terms of overall sales volume and the third among European car makers. And that wraps up this edition of Evening Highlights. I'm Jaqueline P'ng. Thank you for watching.